the climate crisis will end when capitalism ends. This is by Margaret Kimberly over at the Black Agenda Report. And the climate emergency won't end because of heartfelt pleas to the people and the interests who created the crisis. Ecocide will stop when capitalism ends. Quote, no more drilling on federal lands, period, end quote. That was Joe Biden, February 9th, 2020. The march to end fossil fuels will take place in New York on September 17th. So that's coming up, everybody. Days before the UN Climate Ambition Summit. Considering that July 2023 was the hottest month ever recorded on Earth, the role of fossil fuel production in the climate crisis surely needs public attention and action. But there is something highly problematic about marches and meetings that don't address two large elephants in the room: capitalism and militarism. Man, you can always depend on Margaret Kimberly.
Yeah. This is why she's the GOAT
with the
man.
fire,
this is why
man.
She's the GOAT.
She is like, these mini mouth marches and meetings we do, that's fantastic, but it's missing the critique of capitalism and militarism. The United States military is the world's biggest emitter of fossil fuels, having emitted 1.2 billion metric tons of greenhouse gases into the
I'm gonna stop you there real quick,
atmosphere.
CJ.
Go ahead.
Because I'm gonna let you finish, because there's not a lot of things I can add to this brilliant article here. But I'm gonna add this here. This is why I am going super hard at the NATO left, the Bernie Sanders left, because they don't realize the person who did the most damage to the credibility of the climate justice movement is not the idiot far-right propagandists like Ben Shapiro. They did. No one harmed the credibility of the climate movement more than AOC. So you're telling other people that they got to start drinking straws, that we got to stop eating meat, we got to make all these sacrifices as you vote for Ukrainian war packages. The Democrats, who are open hypocrites about this, did the most damage. And this is why a lot of working class people are turning their back toward the climate change movement, because they see these people are hypocrites. If you support the Ukraine war, if you support Joe Biden, who bombed the Nord Stream pipeline, you are showing people that you don't truly believe in what you're saying. CJ, they say the climate crisis is existential. It's something that we must address right now. But let's vote for the Nord Stream bomber. Let's vote for the Democratic Party that's doing the Bullet Project. When you guys do that, you show people that you don't even believe in the climate crisis.
Not serious.
So if you don't believe it, why should we? And that's the mindset of a lot of people who are not buying this shit no more. But anyway, that's probably the only thing I'm gonna chime in on, because this article great.
Yeah,
go ahead,
and this is the difference between. Actually, I won't add that, because I do want to get through this article with this very short time, because I got to get out of here too. But there is something highly problematic. Oh, I read that part. We're down here. The huge number is no surprise, considering that the United States has more than 800 military facilities around the world and needs huge amounts of fossil fuels in order to operate them. We already covered how much it costs to operate Abrams tank. It's something like every 3 hours there has to be, I can't remember, it's something like 50 to 100 gallons of gas. Nick, when you have to travel 12 hours and you have to stop every 2, 3, 4 hours to fill up on gas, but they don't say anything about that when they're voting for that and how it affects climate change. Marianne Williamson, AOC, Bernie Sanders. But I continue. Fossil fuel usage can only end with radical changes to life in industrial nations and with very radical changes in politics. The March to End Fossil Fuels website is replete with pleas to Joe Biden to suddenly stop doing what he's been doing throughout his presidency. Quote, it's time for Biden to pick a side. Is he with us, or is he, I'm trying to read it with a Valley accent. Is he with us, or is he with the fossil fuel CEOs destroying our planet, including our communities? I think and I'm going away from the article. I think the question has been asked and answered. Sunrise Movement.
The
Biden
march to end fossil fuel. These people are they are fucking phonies. They're the weak beta cuck left I'm talking about. But sorry, go ahead, CJ. Look at this shit. But go ahead, I'll let you continue.
Weak and beta.
It's
So quote,
weak.
it's time to pick a side. Oh, I read that part. Biden answered that question. He is like his predecessor on the side of fossil fuel,
and they
CEOs.
keep doing that. One more thing I'm gonna say on that quote.
No, go ahead.
Why you need pick a side? Fuck you. Fuck you. I heard that 3 years ago, and at this point, I heard that so many times from the DSA Gen Z for Change motherfuckers. This shit has been focus group tested. That is a focus group tested term.
Yeah, pick a side.
Because is Biden gonna show us does he support American front? No, he's already chose his side. They want this question to linger. They want the question to linger, CJ. So I promise you, 2 years from now, they're gonna ask the same question. Is Biden gonna choose us or the fossil fuel companies? And then in another 4 years, they're like, is Kamala Harris gonna choose us or the fossil fuel companies? I don't know. We never know, and we will never know they're with us or the fossil. You see how these dum-dums, fucking moronic, weak beta fucking leftists. If Biden on the fossil fuel, who knows? Who knows? We dumb. We don't know anything. They want that question to linger forever, CJ. Because I've seen them ask this question years ago. Literally, I've seen this shit so many times. That's why it triggers me. Because now I'm like, dude, that shit is definitely in the script. To get people following their work, like, oh yeah, is he on our side? No, you do what Mark Kimberly's doing right now, and you say definitively he is not on your side. Why would you say that instead of posing it as a question? That is definitely a propaganda tactic. Definitely.
Exactly.
But anyway, sorry, CJ. I'll
no, to your point, that's why I like doing these reports, because we pick up on those things and we see the patterns in it, and we go, okay, this is another one of their tactics. We get another one of their tactics. So just like you did just now. So I'll continue and finish up. The duopoly's good cop, bad cop routine is quite predictable. Republicans pledge to drill for oil and proclaim their disdain for environmental concerns by opting out of international climate accords. Democrats joined the climate accords and claim they will work towards a fossil fuel future, as Biden did during his campaign in 2020. But once in office, they do what Republicans do. The U.S. is now producing a record 12.8 million barrels, Nick, of oil per day, more than any other nation. Democrats are the worst liars in this regard, as they are well aware that their voters want action on the environment, but their bread is buttered by big oil.
That's such an important point she makes there, that Democrats are worse, because, like, yeah, you can make the argument that Republicans are bad at Joe Biden's issue, but they're not running on it. They're like, yeah, nigga, this is our position. Meanwhile, the Democrat voters like, come on, guys, do something about the climate. No, fuck you. Now give us our vote. Give us your vote. This is the most important election of your lifetime. You guys see the difference? Go ahead, CJ. Go ahead.
No, go ahead. You're gonna say that's the difference between what, though? Because it
might be a thing I was just about to say. At least the Republicans have the illusion of fighting for the base. The Democrats like, oh, you got to fight for climate. Let's pretend we're gonna do it anyway, and then they just screw you. That's like the worst form of betrayal. But anyway, let's continue. We gotta get out of here. Let's continue.
But this is the generals versus the Globetrotters. This is what they do. They pretend, the generals pretend to fall down. They pretend to miss a steal. They pretend to miss a block. That's what they do. And let's get out of here, though, with this last paragraph. Biden has issued more permits for oil drilling on federal lands than Donald Trump did. He approved the Willow project on federal lands in Alaska, a project which is estimated to produce more than 239 million metric tons of greenhouse gases over the projected 30-year life. The much vaunted IRA, or Inflation Reduction Act, presented as a path to fossil fuel futures, actually ties renewable energy programs to oil and gas drilling. The IRA prohibits leasing of federal lands and waters for renewable energy projects such as wind and solar. It prevents. That's ridiculous.
That's so crazy, because you hear progressives literally tout that shit all the time. And like I said, I'm losing track of all the bad shit Biden is doing. Like I only have so much info up there. Like there's so many things. I keep forgetting about this one because I hear progressives constantly praise Biden for the same thing Mark Kimberly is ripping the shred. But go ahead, CJ.
Yeah, and here's the last couple of sentences here. The IRA prohibits leasing. I'm going to read this again. Prohibits leasing of federal lands. It gives the land to oil. It opens it up to them. I said that earlier in the paragraph, but it prohibits.
That's so crazy, dude.
That's so crazy.
That is so extreme, fam. You guys think Trump is extreme? You guys think Donald Trump is extreme?
Oh God.
I didn't know that.
Yeah, I didn't know that. I didn't know that. That's why I'm so shocked.
I didn't know that. I didn't know this at all. That's crazy.
Yeah. It prohibits it, and it says unless the government has offered at least 2 million acres of public land and 60 million acres in federal waters for oil and gas leasing during a prior year. So they have to offer that to the bad shit in order to open it up for the good shit. Otherwise, it's locked out. Last sentence, any environmental benefits outweighed by quintessent to corporate interests that a jeopardizing all life of the planet. So jeopardizing all life on the planet is outweighed by corporate benefits is basically what that last sentence says. I know I jumbled it, but we can close it there. That was a great article by Auntie Margaret Kimberly. Capitalism is killing the planet, which is going to kill us all. And Nick, they don't give a fuck at all. As long as they can sip their martinis, on some clear water. It's funny because they want all of those things for themselves. In rich neighborhoods, they don't want all of this pollution. In rich neighborhoods, they don't want a bunch of police. They don't want none of that shit. They just want it for us, Nick. That's my final words on that topic. Any last thing? Go ahead.
Yeah, so I told you guys that in this next election, I'm treating Biden voters the same way that we will be treated if we vote for Trump. Like you guys can only imagine the backlash, right? So this is what I want you guys to say to these people. When we talking about the progressive left. Call them to their face and tell them they are climate deniers. If you vote for Joe Biden, the Nord Stream pipeline bomber, you are no different than a Joe Manchin, Mitch McConnell climate denier. You realize that, right? The Nord Stream pipeline was one of the most devastating CO2 emission events ever. The biggest act of eco-terrorism in human history. And if you vote for that guy, you're denying that fact. You're openly being complicit with that. And you're showing the world that this climate fucking scam that you're pushing, you don't even fucking believe in. If you vote for Joe Biden. So every single progressive that's going to, I'm really good at trolling liberals, fam. If you want to have fun, call them out for this. Call them out for this bullshit that they voted for Jim Crow Joe, who has a record that stands with anyone in terms of environmental destruction. This election is going to be very fun. It's going to be the funnest election ever because so many of these progressives are going to completely reveal and expose themselves, and I'm going to have a blast exposing them for the capitalism, enabling, imperialist propagandists that they are, which is why RBN is rated as the most extreme left network. We
don't be using it. We don't be using that, so just be used to it. Get used to it. We're going to use that all the time.